Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Rose Guns Days. It's Thursday, hell yeah. Hello, Kat. How's it going? Minus the ads, which sorry to be contributing to that, but also I can't turn them off. Not yet, anyway. And it is almost Friday, almost weekend too. Let's see. It does make for good conversation. Everybody has opinions about ads. Though I seem to be kind of I seem to have a relatively rare one in that I am like allergic to ads. If you want me to buy your product, don't advertise. I'll find it myself, thanks. That's basically my stance. Want me to hate your product and never buy it? Show me a bunch of ads. Really? It must be the new update. Because temporarily, it just breaks everything, like it does that on YouTube as well. I actually get ads on Twitch because, I have, streamer friends, and, well, I know how much ad revenue you get from just being affiliate. It's nothing. But I'm just desperately throwing, like, a cent or two at them every chance I get. In the form of ads that I will just ignore. I just pretend they're not there, it's fine. But yeah, it's aside from that, it's ad block all the way for me. Sorry. Unless it's stuff I want to support, but yeah. Yeah, but that goes for anything. I like my morals. I need them. Alright, I'm very ready for today's episode. So let's start off with our usual content warning. Content warning for violence and gun violence, racism, sexual content including references to assault, misogyny, alcohol abuse, characters dealing with trauma and depression, and other mental health issues. If you're here for the violence, well, we might have some for you today. We might not. I don't know. Because I have never played this series before. I don't know what's going to happen. Which means that I can't give more detailed content warnings until after I've played it, and when I upload these to YouTube, that's where I add more detailed content warnings. If necessary, those will be in the description. So if you want to know more, want some more detail, go to my YouTube channel. I'm getting better at doing, the content warning ramble. It's getting more concise, I feel like. Also, thank you for the save reminder. There's no point in me saving. But I appreciate it nonetheless. Content warnings should contain things that aren't a part of something? Right. Imagine if a film doesn't contain gun violence. So they want there to be a gun violence. Oh, I see. If it shouldn't have. Right, I was getting the emphasis wrong in that sentence. Technically, I think that kind of already exists. There's this website called doesthedogdie.com. And on there you can check things like, does a dog die in this movie, yes or no? And a bunch of other, a huge list actually of other things And I actually based my content warning list for Rose Guns Days on their list, the things that they list for you to, to check on their site, and it will say it does not have that. So you can tell them that something like that kind of exists. Of course, it's a limited list, but when it comes to potentially triggering subjects, they've got you covered, and also will tell you if something is not part of it. So yeah, it's a useful site. It's the Umineko list was really good, covered basically everything. But the Rose Guns Days list, if they even had one, they might not have had one. That might have been the problem, is that obviously I check their site to see what I need to put in the mornings. I don't think there was one actually, yeah. By the end of this, I can make one. So I'll continue to keep track of everything. Yeah, just send it in, because it is like community run, I believe. Definitely worth checking out. As for Rose Guns Days, last episode was an interesting one. Let's see. It is now a year after Leo left the group. Everyone's just been trucking, getting things going for the Primavera. Was it family? Alliance? It was something along those lines. I already forgot the exact wording, because we got very distracted when a young girl, wearing nothing but a nightgown, no shoes, ran out into the road chased by two thugs, and was hit by the car that Rose and Wayne were in. They brought her to a hospital because, yeah, well, of course, where they find out, where the girl finds out she doesn't remember who she is. She remembers a lot of things, but nothing about herself. And from there, apparently she's been unconscious for a week, which definitely points to brain damage, which would explain the missing memories, I guess. Poor thing. At that point, 3 people barge in. Youngish people. Kids, I would say. And these are... I'm trying to remember if Wayne actually referred to them that way. But they're his little street rat kids. His friends, right? And I should have written down their names because I cannot remember. One of them is called Oliver, I think. Like Oliver Twist. That's probably on purpose. There's one's called Nina, and then there's the other one. Anyway, they're very loud. They argue a lot. And there's an emo one, there's a happy one, and then there's a sassy one. And then the girl who doesn't remember her own name is the shy one. So far, at least. And they basically come to get her out of the hospital and get her some new clothes. She gets a really cute new outfit. And that's kind of all we learned so far. That and we made fun of Wayne's fashion choices a lot, which is still a step up from making fun of his life choices. So, he's improving. He's on the way up. Now he just needs to take off that god-awful outfit and put on something not terrible. And then I'll be the happy one. I've just jinxed myself. He's gonna wear trash the rest of the the whole story. Well, at least it'll be entertaining. Yes, so, the 3 kids bring the girl to Rose, and that's where we're at now. think that would be a huge step up for Wayne. I really do. He's already got, like, his whole dog thing. You should just embrace it, you know? Yeah. I think that could really work out for him. I don't want to think about Wayne and Instagram filters, because it's just gonna be, ugh. Yeah. Yup. Hashtag woof. Oh god, I don't want to think of that. So I will distract you with a story. I was invited to sit down and given a dazzling drink that really looked like it belonged in a nighttime establishment. Then, Madame Rose told me about the time I got hit by a car. That I had probably been chased by slavers. How the Madame's car had hit me while I tried to escape. And how that was most likely the cause of my memory loss. Incredible. I guess things like that... No, wait. I guess things that sound like they came out of a novel really do happen.
Is memory something she can get back if she just waits?
Well, the doctor said that we could just wait and that putting her in an environment she was familiar with might help. It sounds like it'd be best to let time do its work and give her a chance to recover slowly. It's... Whenever there's a lot of frills on the screen, in the background of the text, it just gets so much harder for me to read. I really wish this wasn't semi-transparent. It just makes my eyes go like, wait, where do I look? There's too many tangents. It wasn't pleasant to think about. But the memory I'd lost probably wasn't anything that'd be fun to regain. Something that led to me being chased by shady-looking men, barefoot and in my underwear. It didn't seem like something I'd eagerly want to remember. I may have been graced with two fortunes, being saved by this kind woman and losing my memory. Look at her cute little outfit. Adorable. Yeah, Umineko has the same problem by default, and then the patch makes it much easier to read because you can enable the visual novel mode, and then in the Umineko Project patch for Chiru, they just picked the worst possible font and then they had the gall to slap a gradient on there. And then also the font size is smaller, and those are all just killer things. Like, it was a serif font, you usually don't want that on a screen. You just want, you know, it to be without serif stuff. And no, don't put a gradient on there, you freaks. You weirdos. Helvetica would have been fine, Arial would have been fine. Verdana's my favorite. Yeah, I have a favorite font. I'm not a nerd. The gradient just sort of lops the letters in half, the way they've done it. Like, if it was a subtle little gradient, sure, but then you also have to make your text a bit bigger. Really. Because generally you're gonna get contrast issues. But, yeah, no, the way they did it, it just chops all the letters in half, which makes them really, really hard to read. So I really struggled for the entire Chiru playthrough. I struggled so hard with the reading, because of their shitty font choices. I don't know what they were thinking. Korean New is great. Serif font though. So it doesn't super work for stuff like this. I don't think they're gonna fix it. I don't think anyone's worked on that in, what, 2-3 years? And, I feel like the more important thing to fix would be to actually put the names of the authors that get referenced back in. And maybe they also need to stop bragging about how they changed the entire translation. Like, that's a good thing, and not unnecessary bullshit. Because it was already fine. I'm still big mad about it. I will never get over that they removed Agatha Christie's name. Like, she gets name dropped, and they removed it. Manga Gamers is the correct one. Because that's your Witch Hunt translation. Witch Hunt is also the group that translated this version of this patch of Rose Gun Stays. I don't think this one got as many revisions as the Umineko patches did at the time. This was also being released simultaneously, like alongside Umineko, if I recall correctly. So they were focusing on that. And that's why occasionally you'll find some typos here and there, or some grammar issues, or because it just got a little less focus. And this might be like version 1 or something, you know, so this is like the first one they released, so overall it's really fucking solid. Anyway. Yeah, there have been a couple, and I stumble over them every time, which just draws more attention to them, but it happens, you know. It's given how much text there is in these, it's a miracle that there's not more mistakes or oversights. Okay.
If it's okay with you, then please take it easy in City 23 until your memory comes back. That's... Thank you very much, Madam Rose. Still, it is a little inconvenient if you can't remember your own name. Why don't we give you a temporary name until your memory comes back? After all, by losing your memory, you've cut yourself off from your past, if only for a time. I think it'd be wonderful to think of it like being reborn and given a new name. Sounds good to me. And we can just change it once you remember your real name. Can you think of any words or things that you like?
Did I call it last episode? That sounds like something I do. Sorry, I just saw a text come in. Right at the end. Nice. Waited for the nice dramatic moment. I think it's kind of a staple of memory loss stories, right? That someone gets a new name. Plus, like, you can't talk about someone without them having a name. Or you can, but it's hard. So it makes sense to me to give the girl a name. Still, that's one heck of a request, considering I've got no memory. I had nowhere to turn inside my mind, especially for something as important as deciding my name. Nothing's coming to me right away. If it's okay with you, would you mind giving me a name, Madam Rose? Huh? Me? I can think of the old me as having died in the accident. So, since I was able to stay alive thanks to her, you might as well say she gave me my life. Well, then... That hair of yours is really long and beautiful. I wonder if I can link that to a name somehow. Long hair, Doesn't having long hair just make it a pain to deal with? You'd rather just cut it right off and use the spare time for a nice long drink after a bath, right?
Maybe you should use some of the time you spend on your hair to clean your room a little.
Oh.
Ah, Rapunzel. That's the name of a girl with really long hair, right?
That's... Rose bad with names. I agree. I agree. At the same time, this is a Rapunzel look if there ever was one, let's be real. It does fit. Ish. Isn't Rapunzel a type of flower? I feel like that's a type of flower. I hope none of them. I hope they all keep their paws off. She doesn't even know who she is, okay? No climbing this hair. Not until she remembers. Or is like... Or it's like certain she's not gonna remember and she's like, well, fuck it. I have a stable environment. Like, you know. She only just arrived here. It's a little too early to be thinking about that. Oh, bros.
That's the girl from one of Grimm's fairy tales, isn't it?
Oh, that's not her. I thought they were just gonna settle on the first name.
Yoshiki.
Oh. Oh, they are gonna settle on that. I thought Meryl was gonna throw out another name. Hold on, I'm looking this one up. And I'm doing it right now because I never remember after the fact. Yoshiki. That's not spelled right, Sam. It translates to common sense. Yoshiki was a highly competent killer. That can't be that can't be it. Hippocratic Oath? Alright, what's this? Nope. I don't know why she said that or what it means. If anyone out there on the internet is aware of what that was about, please let us know. That was very confusing. Because it was definitely translated because it's just in, you know, our alphabet. What the heck? It's gotta be like a reference to something.
Well. Okay then.
Oh wait.
Okay. Then until you remember your name, you're Rapunzel. How about Zell for short?
It was a temporary name, so I had no complaints. Interestingly, just being given a name seemed to clear some of the fog from my mind. I do like Zell, yeah.
Thank you so much. Then, from now on, I'll introduce myself as Zell. A pleasure to meet you, Zell. I'm Meryl. Call me if you ever need anything.
That does remind me as well of Lae'zel, but that must be why I like it. It's like, ah yes, this sounds familiar. Meanwhile, don't know anyone named Rapunzel, aside from Rapunzel. And I have no particular like or dislike of Rapunzel, so...
I'm Stella Mayogi. If you ever feel like taking a job here, I'll work you hard. We'll see.
Being a lady of the evening is the ultimate service industry. I can't say for sure, having no memory and all, but I seriously doubt I've mastered any skills for entertaining men. I didn't know how long it would take for my memory to return, but they said I wouldn't have to worry about living expenses until that happened. Because of that, I felt I ought to help out somehow to return the favor. Still, I had no confidence that I could work as a lady of the evening.
Hey, Wayne-kun, have you thought of a place for her to stay?
More or less. I know some kids about her age, and I bet they'll look after her.
I'm sorry, but we're going to open the club soon. I hope we can have a nice long meal together soon, Sal. Ah, yes, ma'am. You've really done so much for me, and I'm truly grateful. If you feel that way, why don't you pay us back with your body one of these days?
What the fuck, Stella? What the fuck, Stella?
Don't you force her into this. Our world isn't one you can walk into half-assed.
Stella's just looking to get dibs, maybe. Still.
If you want, drop...
I can't enunciate today.
If you want, drop by the club to play. I think you'll see it isn't the kind of bad place you're scared it is. Was I that obvious? I'm sorry.
Apparently, she had seen right through me. I went red and hung my head. We seemed to be relatively close in age, so I had been extremely frank with her, but afterwards, I learned that she was an incredibly powerful person. That didn't happen until a bit later, though. Ladies of the evening walked into the main hall one after another, in dazzling outfits. She said the club would be opening soon. It was time for outsiders to leave.
See you later, then. There might be a lot to get used to, but try and take it easy, okay? Thank you very much, Madam Rose. I won't forget what you've done for me.
It's one hell of a name. Every time I see that, it's like someone's slapping me in the face, like, yep, this is a real character with a... named after a fairy tale character. Rapunzel, this way. I was already being called by my new name. I went out to the backyard with Wayne-san. The music, used to set an elegant tone, began to play, and Club Primavera's night appeared to finally be beginning. Oh. Oh ho ho. That was a chapter end. Wait, what is this icon? What has happened? Is that a boar or a wolf? It's like wolf with wings in 1948. Oh, is it because we're in a new year? And that's why all the icons are new? Silver-winged bear double gun. Okay, I like yours better than mine. Okay. Sure, I'll take it. I haven't done anything yet, but I'll take it. Is that why we started at chapter 1 last time? Because it's a new year? I don't know if it's a bear or a wolf or a boar. I guess it could be a bear. I don't know. Could be anything. When we left, it was already neon light time in the city. It's a dwarf, yes. That must be it. It's the only explanation. In this season, when you can forget the summer heat and fall is finally here for good, it starts getting dark earlier. Apparently, that sense of the seasons was something I remembered. I guess memory loss isn't an all or nothing thing. I'm Wayne, Roseanne's bodyguard.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for taking care of me today.
Is this your first... Excuse me. Is this your first time in City 23?
Probably. Sorry, I don't know.
I'll bet. Stupid question to ask. Yeah, Wayne. It's gotten a lot better lately, but it still isn't high class enough for a woman to walk around alone at night. If you get into any trouble with someone, tell them I'm taking care of you. That'll probably put a stop to it. Whoa, you just casually said something pretty cool. I know, right? Does that mean this guy's a pretty big name in this city? True enough. Though he wore his suit like a young person, it was of the best quality, just several sizes too small. Even this car was a luxury car, way too fancy for a mere bodyguard to be driving around. I may have been lost and confused, but I got the feeling that I might be in the care of some pretty incredible people.
What should I do next?
I'll get you a temporary place to sleep. You can live there however you like. Rosan said you can stay however long it takes for your memory to come back. Put that way, it made me want to remember everything quick to spare them the trouble. I wonder if it'll all just pop back into my head once I've had a good sleep. Then, if I turned out to be the daughter of someone who owned a diamond mine, we could offer Madame Rose a huge reward or something. If that had ever happened. Rosan wouldn't want to do anything to trouble you. She sympathizes with your situation from the bottom of her heart.
I understand. She had the eyes of a good person.
Her kindness always comes with no strings attached, so don't worry. At the very least, he seemed to trust Madame Rose from the bottom of his heart. Yeah, it's true that the memory loss has made me anxious, but that's no reason to doubt their kindness. If they really were bad people, they would have tied me up back at the club, sold me off, and had done with it. Well, I mean, this is 1948. Elon Musk has nothing to do with any diamond mines yet, I don't think. I mean, by proxy, probably at this point. Still, Zell doesn't know that. After driving around a bit, the car stopped in a dimly lit and not particularly prosperous-looking shopping district. Le Petit Journal? Sorry, I'm just... This must be in France in the background. That looks like... That's... Yeah, the amount of letters checks out. It looks like an... Someone tried to obfuscate what that says, but... It didn't work. They need to run it through the filter again. A signboard told me that this was a store for musical instruments, but it also seemed to have been empty for some time. Wait, that explains why there was a little, like, loot or something along those lines on the emblem at the end just now at the... Well, it wasn't the end of the chapter, but the save point.
Is this a music store?
It used to be. A kind old man ran it, but he died and the shop closed. When his I made the exact same mistake twice. Yet we haven't figured out the place in Europe these pictures belong to yet. However, this just now gave us a big hint because it looks like it's France. Or anywhere in Europe where things aren't named after French things, which is quite a few, but still. Still. When his wife left Tokyo, she gave the store to us. It's basically an apartment now. This looks very open though, and not, you know. When we entered through the back door, sure enough, there was no music store, but instead the traces of everyday life. It looks like an antique store on the inside. There was laundry, which was still hanging up to dry at this hour, and hung in a really messy style too. Oh. You're just doing some detective work while... In the meanwhile. Makes sense that it's a restaurant. The front looked like a restaurant to me. Trash and empty bottles were piled up on the side of the door, as though someone was always planning to throw them out tomorrow. It looked like the sort of cheap, temporary apartment that a poor student who had come to Tokyo from the countryside might have lived in. That's very specific for someone with no memory. No, that's probably too kind a description. It looked like a sports-minded room, with no attempt made at neatness and order. Oh yeah, that definitely looks like a restaurant. Cozy. Oliver, are you there? Is a room ready? He called out as he climbed the stairs, but there was no reply. Instead, there were clattering, thunking sounds, as though someone was moving out of the house. Charles, that was the happy guy. Like Charles Dickens. Is it really Charles Dickens and Oliver Twist that they're named after? Oh my god. Did Rose name them? I bet Rose named them. Dickens, fairy tales, you know. Yeah, I was looking for this. That sure takes me back. It's trash, isn't it? Throw it away. It's not trash. These are all treasure to me. If it's treasure, why don't you try putting it away? The same thing can be treasure if you keep it neat, but a mountain of trash if you just leave it lying around. It's amazing. Wait, that's the wrong character, hold up. There's no sprites. I don't know about Nina, but I also don't know... I haven't read Oliver Twist. And I haven't seen any adaptations in a very long time. But there might be a character named Nina in there, who knows? Probably people who know. Probably a lot of people who know. I'm not one of those people. Okay. It's amazing that the floor never fell through before now. Hey, put that over there. Still, why did you put this off until today? Haven't I always told you to clean up? What does that mean? You read it under duress in English? Yeah, that sounds like any kind of reading in school. Under duress. If talking could clean anything up, then I'd talk every day. I don't know what that means. Surely you do talk every day. You tell us to clean up like you're so important, and then you just lie down and read a book. I'm always busy with my studies. That's why I leave the cleaning up to those who have nothing better to do. I see how it is. What the heck? I'd really like to hear what brilliant accomplishments you've made thanks to those noble studies of yours. This pile of secondhand books is all stuff you bought and never read, right? So why didn't you clean them up? Seriously, you're really getting on my nerves. I can't understand a word through that dialect of yours. Learn how to speak proper Japanese. What did you say? It's not proper Japanese, it's the Tokyo dialect, that thing you do. It's only you Tokyo people who think all of Japan revolves around Tokyo. Stop jumping around, you're kicking up dust. The three noisy people were clattering about, cleaning up the dusty, trash and junk-filled room even though it was so late at night. I'd rather not think about it, but I hope we're not walking into a scene of them getting my room ready. Well, I think we are. You're pretty noisy, so late at night. Ah! Aniki Wayne's here! Thought I told you to get a room ready for her. Sorry. I did tell them to clean up, but... Oh, you should talk. You've just been standing around reading books. But, Aniki, we have cleaned it up a lot. Look, it's even clean enough to lie down in. So, you weren't even able to set up a futon. Give us an extra hour and we could do that, sure. 30 minutes more and we'll throw in sweeping and dusting too. Ah, it really is the girl from the hospital. See, I told you. I apologize for the mess. These guys will be taking care of you. They know a lot about this city. They'll take care of all your needs. I'm Rapunzel. I'd be happy if you called me Zell. Ah, great. You remembered your name. It's a temporary name that Madame Rose gave her. But I like it. Rapunzel, forgive us, but could you give us a little more time? We'll try to at least make it bearable for tonight. We did grow up in back alleys after all. I'm sorry. We grew up sleeping on piles of trash and fishing through them, so we sort of suck at cleaning stuff. We aren't rats anymore. We're humans. It's only natural for humans to live in orderly rooms. You say that, Oliver, but for that you need to clean up. It's not gonna clean itself. I didn't know if they really had been raised in back alleys like they claimed. However, one thing was clear at a glance. They didn't know the first thing about cleaning or putting stuff away. They tried taking things that were high up and moving them down, or else stacking things in a pile. They might be trying their best to clean up in their own way, but they weren't making any progress. I'm sorry, but please wait a little longer. No, I can't do that. I readied myself and rolled up my sleeves. I was just thinking that it didn't suit my personality. Words? Why do they work this way? Or rather, why don't they work this way? It didn't suit my personality to be a freeloader who sat around doing nothing. And anyway, this travesty probably isn't limited to this room. If this is going to be my room, I'd better give it my all. Or it's more like, I finally figured out my place in all this. stepped briskly into the room and began giving quick directions. They really did seem to know none of the basics of cleaning up, and they faithfully imitated my every move like a bunch of chicks following their mother. This is actually sort of fun. If I was still alone in the hospital. On the one hand, mind communication would be really fun. On the other hand, then I wouldn't have to do stuff like this anymore. Like, you know, where would I go with my Rose Guns Days streams? Nowhere. It's just not the same. If I was still alone in the hospital now, I probably would be getting crushed with uneasiness about my memory loss by now. In that sense, I must be really lucky right now. Since I have no memory, it means the old me and the new me are different. So it's like the old me died, and I've started a new life. In that case, whether I have a fun life or not depends on how hard I work right now. And so, my strange new life without my memory began in this corner of Tokyo known as City 23. But it's actually in France. Aesthetically, at least. The big cleanup stretched from my room to the hallway, to the public area, and even to the rooms of the three others. I had dust hurting my throat, ticks in my skin. Girl. Get rid of those. That's bad news. In your skin, well, they do dig in there. That's like a thing they do. Yeah. That's bad news waiting to happen. I was almost impressed that they'd ever managed to live like this. However, now that was all in the past. And there you have it. What do you think, everyone? I thought she was gonna say this reasoning is possible for Erika Furudo for a second. So the what do you think, everyone? Now this is what they call cleaning. I never knew it was so bright on the second floor. I was sure this house didn't have any windows. What the hell kind of mess were they in? It's so big. Someone could even live in the hallway. And the floor is so smooth, you could lie down on it. Still, think of all the junk we had. I still can't believe it. We made such a huge pile in the trash bin. Still, feels kinda nice to have a house that's so clean. I agree. My head feels all clear. Right? That's a clean house for you. When your house grows stagnant, then so does your fortune. If you clean and tidy up your house, your fortune goes way up. I sort of feel like it has. Feels like something good will happen today. You're cleaning masters, Al. I'm no master. This is just normal. That's not true. You're awesome. I've always dreamed of living in a clean house like this. Woo. Or woo. I can't do woos. I'll practice those off stream. I'll get it next time. They ran and jumped excitedly around the newly polished house, rubbing their faces on the furniture. These people really do act like dogs despite their age. That's the Wayne rubbing off on them. The big clean had taken several days. However, those days had become a great chance to get to know them. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. How dare you? He's like their dad. Or something along those lines. First, it seemed they really were orphans who grew up in a back alley, like they claimed. Apparently, they had lost their families in the Great Disaster, and were forced to literally eat dirt in the past. However, they were so tough that they didn't seem to think of it as something unpleasant. These were the times we lived in. You wouldn't be able to get by if you weren't that tough. They seemed to be positive about everything. Though I ended up scolding them throughout those few days for their bad living habits, I also learned that I had a lot to learn from them. Yeah, I don't think dirt's gonna keep you alive, but desperate times, I guess?
When it's this clean, it makes me want to turn it into an even more wonderful house. Well, we threw the curtains away because they were moldy. Why don't we use this chance to do a little remodeling? And again, money.
That won't be a problem. Ah, yes. I was told to take Zell to the office about that matter.
Anyway, we spent all our time cleaning and none of it celebrating, right?
Celebrating? Celebrating what?
Zell, obviously. She's our roommate, isn't she? Our friend, right? Got that right. She's a friend living under the same roof. If we're getting some money, there's nothing wrong with us having a feast tonight, is there? Normally, it's healthier and cheaper to cook for yourself as much as possible, but events like these are important for good fortune.
You think about fortune a lot, don't you, Zell?
Luck's important. People who lose that end up dead, right? Even Aniki Wayne said that. Well, you survived this long, so maybe we've got that to thank.
I think it's a lot easier to keep clothing looking clean than like a whole house, maybe. But yeah, that's a good point. They really do look quite clean in comparison. Though there was laundry hanging up. Maybe they're new clothes. They must be. Newish, at least. I don't know. Try not to think about it too hard, I guess.
Fortune isn't something that brutal. You can affect it as much as you want by changing your attitude. If you put in the effort, we can make our lives as fun as we want to.
Intriguing.
Well, there's no doubt that our fortune's changed a lot since you came here. Our house is brighter and bigger. I've been having fun ever since you got here.
Though it'll only last until our memory returns. Until that time, you can live here, and we'll count you as a friend.
Thank you, Oliver. In that case, everyone, we've got a lot to do today. Lots of stuff to buy.
And you must go to the office.
I know a place that'll give us as much delicious Nikomon as we want. Let's go there to celebrate, Zell. Okay. Let's go do it all.
Oh my god, it's been so long since we've seen one of these. Yeah, they did have washing machines, but they also had like worst dye, I bet, so keeping the whites white must have been even harder. Maybe they just don't, and everything that's like pristine looking is just brand new. Yeah, I imagine so. But isn't that just gonna make the dye run even more? I don't. Maybe they just take like showers fully dressed, you know, and that's how they keep clean. I bet that's what they do. Anyway, Madame Rose is apparently taking care of my living expenses. The more I earn, the more certain I become that she's the more I learn, the more certain I become that she's a truly incredible woman. The more I earn, what the... We were headed to the Myogi offices. I'd heard that this luxurious building was the office used by Club Primavera. Apparently, I was going to be picking up my life expenses there for the time being. I really feel guilty about all everyone's doing for me. When someone helps you, accept it without holding back.
And when it's your turn to help someone else, do it without holding back. Those are Aniki Wayne's words.
You all respect Wayne-san a lot, don't you?
It's not just respect. To us, he's our boss, our dad, our Aniki.
To put it simply, he's a living legend.
That legendary man, along with Leo and the Madam, defeated Father Caleb all by themselves.
Wayne-san also defeated Crazy Alfred. If Leo Shishigami was a legendary man, then Wayne-san truly is a living legend. Was? What happened to Leo?
He's someone we back alley rats can't help but look up to.
They even call themselves rats, you know? They really are just mini Waynes. The three of them passionately told me about Wayne-san's many feats. It sounded like they were embellishing it a lot, so I took it with a grain of salt, but I could clearly see how much they respected him. However, as I listened to them, a thought popped into my head. These Club Primavera people didn't seem to be honest businessmen exactly. Getting involved in feuds and gunfights wasn't a job for a nighttime establishment. This was totally a story of the criminal underworld. Could it be that these people were some sort of street gang in the service of the mafia? Well, about that, there's the office. Wow. The street was lined with black luxury cars. Of course, there were also old guys in sunglasses who certainly didn't seem to have an honest profession, all of whom were glaring around them. Oh? Is someone here? There's Monabe-san. The grand boss is probably here. Just as excuse me. Just as I'd expected.
There's no need to be scared. They're all nice people.
Wait. Oh, right, no, because they basically took over the Caleb family. I remember. This is the guy. It is, yeah. He had the big epic fight with Leo. I remember because he looks like Okunogi. Because he's Okunogi. It's the rat tail, yeah. And the Widow's Peaks, I think they're called. He's got that big old V shape on the front of his head, on his forehead. I forgot what voice I did for him, if any, so I'm just gonna wing it. Yo, brats. It's not Okunogi, it's Monobe. Hello there, Monobe-san. The three bowed in greeting to this creepy-faced Mr. Monobe, who clearly looked like a mafia leader. Is the boss here? He'll be done soon. You have some business here? Wayne-san told us to come to the office. I see. The boss will be out in a moment. Wait here for a bit. I see. There's a big mafia boss visiting. These guards are probably defending the outside of the building and making sure no ordinary people go inside. Excuse me? Can we just like drag Wayne in here to be like, hey, this is how you, learn from this. Learn from this man's example. Damn. Damn. He looks fancy as fuck. He's even got a cane now. He kind of also looks like a hitman. I don't know why. But a fancy hitman. Eventually, a big man in a suit came out of the office. Is that the boss?
He's the grand boss of the Primavera family, Cyrus Saimura.
Yeah, he definitely looks the part of a big mafia boss. Like a man who could decide a person's life or death, with a snap of his fingers. No, that face looks like someone who's killed at least 100 people with his own hands. Is that tiger print on the sleeves? Oh my god. That is so extra, but it's actually done really subtly. So I'll allow it, but... And I think there was also like a tiger head on the cane. See, Cyrus's outfit is coordinated. It looks like it all kind of belongs together. Meanwhile, Wayne fell into a second-hand store, you know, into the clothes pile there, and then he walked out. No rhyme or reason to it. So I feel even less bad than I already... I didn't feel bad for making fun of him, but now I feel less bad. Yeah. It's what he deserves.
I'm counting on you, partner. I'll be back.
Richard needs new clothes too. Yeah, that's true. He probably didn't know. Doesn't know how to... But he's got so many people with a good sense of style around him, and none of them stop him or help him coordinate. Sad. Maybe they tried and he didn't allow it. Indeed. Take good care of you. Take good care of things on your end, too. We couldn't play at being mafia like this without your leadership.
I'm not so well suited to it, though. I fit in a lot better when I was serving tea and using the typewriter in this tiny office.
That goes for both of us. I'd rather quit being a moneylender and focus on childcare.
Tell Yuji I said hi.
He's become quite spoiled lately. It's a real handful.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Maurice. Let's go.
Yeah, he's just Cyrus. I love that. Hasn't changed a bit. Yes, boss. Let's go, man. Okay, but the tiger design on the sleeves is really cool, actually. The stern-faced men piled into their cars. The large boss also got into a luxury car, followed by his guards.
Whew. He's always so cool.
I won't be treated like a brat forever. Eventually, I'll make my way to the top.
We've got a lot of growing up to do. We've got a lot of growing to do before we get that kind of dignified presence, though. I want to build a legend like Aniki Wayne and the boss and become big myself.
Don't yell. We can go inside now, can't we? Let's go. The calm-looking man who had spoken with the Grand Boss was still standing in the entrance, watching the cars leave. When they saw us coming, the guards standing behind the man stuck their hands into their pockets and stepped forwards. Who are you? Wayne-san told us to come here. Ah, Wayne's kids. Is she the girl named Rapunzel?
Yes. My name is Rapunzel. It's a pleasure to meet you.
This is Richard Miyagi-san, the family's consigliere.
Consigliere? The head planning officer of the family, who advises the madam. He's as important as the Grand Boss.
I merely handled the bookkeeping. I'm hardly important to myself. If something were to be that important, it would be the contents of the safe that I guard. But let's not talk while standing. Enter. Cyrus just brought in a pot of tea.
Comes over to bring tea with all his goons.
Amazing. This tea is delicious even when it cools. You all should have some too.
The Grand Boss really is obsessed with tea, isn't he?
His tea is supposed to be a treat only tasted by a few of his most powerful bosses. This is truly an honor.
Wonder if they'll have snacks too. I'm starving already. I was eating just a second ago. Sheesh.
We had been invited into the Myogi offices. Then, while drinking some tea that was supposedly the Grand Boss Saimura's original blend, I was asked to sign several English documents. Rose told me about you. I hear you've lost your memory.
That's right. But there's no point worrying too much about it, so I'd like to start by looking forward.
Excellent. The young are truly magnificent. Rose told me to provide you with living expenses for the time being. On paper, you will be considered as working at one of Primavera's establishments and receiving a salary for your services. Despite having heard that, being told to sign a bunch of papers in a language I couldn't read was terrifying to me on the inside. What if I'm signing something that gives them permission to take out my organs while I'm still alive? There was once a man who said the exact same thing. Though that man left Japan after building a legend in the span of a single night.
Oh wait, you don't mean...
Indeed. I'm speaking of Leo. He said the same thing when being asked to sign the same papers.
Whoa. If you said the same thing as that legend, you must be a force to be reckoned with yourself.
How surprising. So, the legendary Leo Shishigami couldn't read English. His English was truly horrendous. I am a pen is as far as he ever got. Their conversation was so amicable that my fear of those papers began to fade. To hell with it. I don't remember it, but I escaped from slavers once already. If these guys are slavers too, I just need to run away again. Thank you. Also, I have a message for Rapunzel from Rose. She wants to know if you would be interested in sharing a meal with her on Sunday.
A meal with Madame Rose, you say? Wonder what they'll be serving. Whole roast calf? Or a Manchu-Han What?
I just invented letters in that sentence that weren't there.
Imperial feast? Dumbass. She only invited Zell, not us.
Madame Rose is a busy person. She must have set aside some of her precious time for you. I've already been given a bed and living expenses thanks to her kindness. There's probably no reason to refuse. And anyway, I'm just starting to figure out who these people are. I'll ask her straight up what Primavera is all about. The Dawn Shopping District. It's supposed to be a wonderful shopping district, lined with recently opened stores. Strolling around while thinking about what you want to buy is a great way to raise your fortune. This looks a lot less French, just throwing that out there. The Dawn Shopping District. That's what was written on the recently built billboard art. It was a pleasant and flourishing shopping district, lined with several newly built shops. I was also very surprised to see that the line of shops were all run by Japanese people. These days, the shops in Tokyo are always run by Americans or Chinese people. Japanese shops were supposedly in the process of being driven out of business. In modern Tokyo, it was extremely rare to see a whole shopping district filled with only Japanese shops. City 23 really is wonderful, isn't it? It is now.
Just a year ago, the city was being run by this nasty guy called Caleb.
It was?
It was a terrible time. City 23 was on the point of destruction for a while.
But, thanks to Madame Rose, the city's been revived.
To think that the city got this lively in just 1 year. I still can't believe it. So, these days, City 23 is getting rebuilt with all the vigor of a sunrise. Just like the name of the shopping district. I think I can understand. I can feel enormous fortune about this place.
I could tell by the people's faces. This city has hope. However, according to them, just a single year ago, the city was run to waste and nearly all the shops disappeared. Apparently, Madame Rose was the one who had rebuilt from all that. That sweet-looking woman, who didn't seem that much older than me, had achieved such an incredible accomplishment. I was surprised to see her in charge of such a magnificent club, but this was even more surprising. Just what sort of city is City 23? And who in the world is Madame Rose?
Zell, how about this store?
It looks pretty nice. Shall we take a peek? We found a shop selling curtains. Our old curtains were so bad that no amount of washing would have helped, so we threw them away. Without curtains, a room doesn't have a sharp divide between day and night. Being able to clearly separate your daytime and nighttime lives is an essential part of raising your fortune.
After all, isn't that right? Do you really think fortune will come to people who let day and night toss them about without trying to create any sort of schedule? Ah, I get it. So that's why something always seemed a bit off about our lifestyle until now.
Though it seems a bit dubious that a few curtains can really turn your fortune around.
It does, doesn't it? Then why don't you let yourself get tricked one more time, like when we cleaned the rooms? You'll see how wonderful it is to open the curtains and be bathed in morning sunlight.
It does sound intriguing.
I wish I could be like that. I want to get some awesome curtains. Oliver, if you don't pick out some curtains you like, Zilla and I will just end up choosing for you. You wouldn't want some cute curtains with flowers on them, would you?
This has ceased to be amusing. I will pick 2. Ah yes, flowers. Truly the worst thing imaginable. Thought I also hoped that he would say yes, I want some flower curtains. I actually... 75% of the curtains in my house have flowers on them. And that is by choice. And it's great. I would recommend it. Apparently, they had never thought of spicing up their lifestyle by customizing it to fit their own personal theme. They're plain beige? Well, there's nothing wrong with that, that's just functional, you know? It was only natural. So far, the goal of their lifestyle has been to survive until the next day, and only barely. But it's different now. And they have me now. If they've accepted me as a friend, it's because they want to find some sort of happiness by having me here. That's what I think. We visited several other stores, buying lots of stuff to decorate our lives. I was truly grateful to Madame Rose for giving me enough money to buy all these things. Chatter. I wouldn't believe the city could spring back so far. You left the city just about 1 year ago, didn't you? That's right. Caleb chewed the city to bits and I was sure it was done for. And what do you think now? Do you think it's becoming one of the few Japanese cities in Tokyo? I came back ready to be scammed, but just look at how much it's changed. It's like I'm dreaming. It's all thanks to Primavera. Can you believe it? The ladies of the evening we despise for making dough by sucking up to those American troops are the ones who saved this city. They heard bits of conversations like this from the people they passed. Looks like the city really was on the point of destruction just a year ago. And Madame Rose of Club Primavera saved it. What on earth did Madame Rose do? How did she revive this city when bad people almost destroyed it once? Madame Rose took it upon herself to solve several problems in order to save her Japanese countrymen. And the biggest one was raising wages for laborers. It just happened all of a sudden one day. Places where you'd normally be happy to get $200 for a day's work were suddenly offering $400. Laborers aren't fools. When jobs with high wages appear, that's where they'll go. In other words, you can't employ people anymore at the cheap wages they used to have. After forming the Primavera family, Madame Rose established even stronger connections with the occupying forces. Through Butler, She even gained a friendly relationship with the City 23 Director General. Another friendly relationship with Don McDowell became a huge weapon as well. Madame Rose succeeded in quickly obtaining the special offers windows involved with a large proportion of City 23's public works projects. The special offers window was truly an aristocratic privilege, a means of snatching up large sums of money by simply passing jobs onto lower-ranking parties. Hordes of corrupt politicians and depraved bureaucrats, members of the criminal underworld, had used this to suck up piles of cash. By shifting responsibility in this way, the end result was suffering for our Japanese countrymen laborers in the form of low wages. In other words, if the holder of the special offers window didn't exploit it, the budget for the project would be fully reflected in the low-level laborers' wages. As a result, they succeeded in creating a utopia where laborers had double their previous wages. This became a powerful camphor. Isn't that a flower? In restoring City 23, after the Caleb family devastated the foundations for living in the city. Yeah, I don't understand the context here. It's a flower, right? It is a white one, yeah. Rumors spread, and the people who had left City 23 returned one after another. Where money gathers, people gather. Where people gather, shops gather, and vigor gathers. And so, in a mere year, the city succeeded in regaining the bustle it had lost, and maybe even more besides. As a result, City 23's exploitative wage system was destroyed. Maybe it can mean multiple things? I don't know. That meant the advantages of the City 23 special offers window disappeared, and its value plummeted. When the holders of the other special offers windows could no longer bear this, Madame Rose made contact with them through Don McDowell. She bought up special offers windows one after another, and in the end, she was able to gain possession of the majority. Of course, this also resulted in the transfer of a full 100 million Japanese dollars. However, by now, Primavera had used its solidarity with the occupying forces to gain influence and the access to large amounts of credit. The wealth they possessed was on an entirely different level. Influence and wealth. Of course, the force they wielded as the mafia known as the Primavera family was not to be forgotten. The final power they used to protect their countrymen was the courage to shed their own blood without fear. Caleb's elite troops from the front lines, starting with that Maurice Monobe, went on to become Primavera's elites. Thanks to Cyrus Saimura, a man with years of experience putting ruffians into line, these men formed a united front. The three powers Caleb had once spoken of: influence, wealth, and force. By gaining these three, Madame Rose had created a utopia in the city. This utopia was causing a definite influence on other cities too. Once they heard about high-wage jobs, laborers would no longer settle for heavy labor for low wages. It was said that laborers in other cities were starting to raise their voices, demanding treatment similar to City 23. This would prove to be inconvenient for the special offers window holders in other cities. The journey to reach Madame Rose's ideals was still going to be long and hard. However, it was impossible to see that amidst the bustle of this day. Madame Rose really is an incredible person. I thought of her in a friendly way, like she was someone I could probably get along with. What an amazing person she is. I get the feeling my legs will be trembling the next time I meet her. Chinatown. The chaotic vigor of Chinatown is simply overwhelming. Apparently, this is where Charles's favorite Nicomon's shop is. For an afternoon snack, we decided to go to Chinatown to try those Nicoman Charles had recommended, which they only now specify means pork buns. The vast rush of traffic and noise was no different from Chinatowns in any city. That seems specific for someone who has no memory, so... Alright. Apparently, even though I had no memory, I remembered this. I knew it. Compared to the prosperity of the Chinatowns, American cities were nowhere near as lively. I guess the fact that Asian people can't visually blend into a city of Westerners was a big factor in this. The wall of language is big too. Both the Japanese and Chinese use Chinese characters in their words, so it was just barely possible to come to a mutual understanding. However, you'd have no luck with English unless you learned the language. Because of that, the American cities felt a bit more desolate than the Chinatowns. They did make some effort to attract Japanese customers, but apparently nowhere near as much as the Chinese shopkeepers. In any event, the fact that Japanese customers might be Japanese or Chinese as long as they kept their mouths shut was important. Yeah, I thought I was being clever, and I kind of was, but they were immediately like, yeah, no, this is in fact a weird thing for someone to be aware of if they don't have a memory. If they have memory loss. Even in this crowd, it's unlikely that anyone here is Chinese. In fact, half of the customers might be Japanese. Both the Japanese and the Chinese still held ill feelings remaining from the war. However, as long as they kept those to themselves, nothing bad would happen. And that sort of tolerance was certainly present here. The writing on the fronts of the buildings was mostly Chinese, but you could see a lot of Japanese as well. Those robust Chinese shopkeepers didn't seem to show any prejudice against Japanese customers, as long as they had money.
City 23's Chinatown also seems to be bustling with activity.
That's because City 23 itself is in the middle of a boom.
Chinese shopkeepers are good at business, so they're making a killing. All the cheap, delicious stuff is in Chinatown. Yeah, just smelling it makes my stomach rumble. That's just you being a picky eater. Just try some and you'll get used to it. What about you, Zell? Are you okay with the scent?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm getting hungry too.
You got that right.
That aroma of oils and ingredients used in Chinese food, which you could only find in Chinatown, gave the place an exotic atmosphere. That scent made me feel at home somehow. Before I lost my memory, I must have been familiar with Chinatown culture. Surely I used to live in a city controlled by the Chinese military.
Still, this part is totally Chinatown, isn't it?
That street over there used to be our border with Chinatown. Now it's sticking out an entire block further. Looks like Chinatown's prospering too.
That's part of it, but it's also true that this area was deserted.
Because of the Caleb family, people left their stores and turned this city into a bunch of empty buildings. Then, The people here started buying them up one after another, and so Chinatown expanded.
You see a lot more Chinese people around the city these days, too. Have you been able to get along well with them?
I don't think of any of us as anything more than maggots who lost the war. The feeling is mutual. We ourselves wish those damn immigrants would get out of Japan. Okay, cool. This is why. Cool.
Yeah. Fights are always breaking out.
This is. Rude as it might have been, the two of them smiled boldly. It felt like little more than students at a pair of nearby middle schools in different districts. If you say so, Zell. Sure.
I think it's probably a good thing that we can't understand each other. If we understood each other too well, we'd be able to hear everything we're saying behind each other's backs.
Ignorance can sometimes act as a breakwater. That might be true. If, in the future, some sort of automatic translating device were invented and we were able to understand the other side's gossip, the result would probably be a mess.
Well, I'm an idiot. If some Chinese guy is talking bad about me, I won't even understand.
That might be pretty important. Important? What? There's been a bunch of sentences in today's everything that have really confused me. And I can't tell if it's me, or the story, or the translation, or a combination. Like, important to what? Important why? For his, like, continued survival here? That he doesn't understand anything, so that he doesn't get in I don't... Give me some context, please. Anyway. The truth was, I had a strange feeling for a while now. The Chinese was somehow soaking into my ears. What could it be? Why is Chinese so familiar to my ears? I focused on a man yelling in Chinese at the counter.
Are you kidding me, bastard? Lower that price of yours a bit, will ya?
You don't like it? Go home. I've got plenty of customers beside you.
Uh-huh. What's wrong, Zell?
I think I understand Chinese.
Huh? That's awesome. Are you serious? Then, can you speak it? Can you get them to lower the price of these Nikomon?
You can really speak it? Try saying something. He did say that it would be free. Yeah. Also, this means a yes. She can in fact speak Chinese.
Wow, what was that? What was that? Cool.
Surprised. What did you just say?
I said, what a nice day. I'm hungry. Okay. So what's written over there? The next person who throws their trash here dies.
What are those Chinese people saying?
You said tobacco would make me a fortune, giving my money back.
Awesome! Even I was surprised. It wasn't as though I had a dictionary in my head. The feelings and meanings of the words just popped into my mind in the most natural way. I probably didn't learn Chinese by studying. I must have picked up Chinese naturally through my daily life. The three of them were astounded by my ability to speak another language like it was some sort of superpower. But for me, it was as though the stone door to my lost memories was shaking, and I couldn't help but feel dizzy. A feeling of uneasiness that I couldn't describe was welling up inside my mind. Is it really okay for me to be here? Isn't there something I should be doing? It felt as though, in some place I didn't know about, sand was gradually trickling down an hourglass. Well, that's ominous. Zell, over here! The Nikamon here will knock your socks off! Before I knew it, I'd been left behind in the crowd. The three of them were waving at me from a stand right in front of me. I'd spaced out and been left behind. The moment I tried to dash forward, I felt a clinging bad feeling and started looking all around me. A city I don't know, filled with people I don't know. Of course no one would meet my gaze. Come on, Zell, hurry up. I'm starving here. What is it, Zell? You spaced out and stopped walking. Doesn't look like it's just some funny Chinese joke you overheard. Sorry, it was just my imagination. Forced a smile and went with everyone to the Nikamon stand. If I said I'd felt someone's eyes on me, they'd probably just look at me blankly. Even though we're in a bustling crowd of countless unrelated people passing by, whose names we don't know and whose faces we can't even see well. Who's this? We got another little badass, I guess? I mean, this looks like a badass. And the dragon tattoo, yeah. From the darkness of an alleyway, a short girl appeared like a shadow. Her eyes were fixed on Zell as she stuffed her face with Nikamon with their friends. Okay. New friend, new enemy? New save. Thank you for the save reminder. Before noon on a certain Sunday, I was invited to brunch with Madame Rose. By then, I was vaguely aware of what she represented, so I was incredibly tense. When I honestly told her how I felt, she giggled.
Even I was tense about this role of mine at first. More than once, I was nearly crushed by the role that goes along with the name Madame Rose.
She's back and she's okay. Potato girl, yeah, she is Potato Girl.
However, Names and roles have the power to make people be reborn.
I think I just slammed my elbow on my desk and that probably made a loud noise, and I'm sorry about that. This young shopkeeper, who was supposedly Rose's friend, spoke as she carried in some food. You didn't hear it? Good, perfect. There were several samples of Japanese creative cuisine, something you hardly ever saw these days. For some reason, there seemed to be a lot of potatoes in it. I see. So the store's name, Kuroimo, Black Potato, isn't just for show.
As they say, names and natures do often agree. And the same thing goes in reverse. I think that when people are given names, they're reborn to match that name. I understand. That makes total sense to me.
Even I might be a different person to the one I was before I lost my memory. After being given the name Rapunzel, I was reborn as a new human. Maybe a name is the soul and personality.
Well, it isn't as though anyone could do the job of the madam. Rose was always a girl who felt a strong sense of responsibility. Yeah, a lot of people have praised Madame Rose's great achievements. They say you saved the city from the evil mafia and gave the people their way of life back. Yeah, Rose is this city's savior. Thank you. But my goals are still a long way from being reached. Now that we've lost our country, we Japanese are going to have to make it through a tough era. It's sad, but 100 years or so from now, I think Japan might have all the Japan taken out of it. We're in Japan right now, and yet it's harder to find soy sauce and miso than ketchup and mustard.
In this age, Japanese-style food is relatively expensive. In my eyes, this store looked like a cheap restaurant of the good old days. But by now, it was practically high-class eating. To put it another way, in the current Japan, Japanese cooking is like foreign dining.
I'm not in politics or the military, so I can't take back Japan for us. However, I want to open a path to a society where fellow countrymen help each other. I want to show people that path.
Since the Japanese became a minority, they were now the lower class of this country. As the proverbs, only when basic needs are met can people spare decorum, and poverty brings simplicity imply. Just being poor weakens the heart. I hate to say it, but these days, there's a widespread wretchedness in the Japanese people. Enough to make them willing to trample down anyone, countryman or otherwise, to get what they need to survive. There's no getting around it. To try and put it as kindly as possible, it was an era where you got to starve until you died.
And because those are the times we live in, I want to revive the will to help each other. If only when basic needs are met can people spare decorum, then the very first step is to build a society where everyone has enough of those things. And that's why he revised the wages for laborers. Caleb's son was the one who tried to do that. I'm only inheriting his goal. He may have been a terribly violent man, but his drive to save the society of his countrymen is the one thing he still deserves praise for, I think.
I had heard Caleb's name from Oliver's group as well. He was the big bad guy who reigned as a tyrant and drove City 23 to the point of destruction. The way that Madame Rose spoke of this evildoer with an almost fond gaze was something that stuck with me.
after being blessed with many fortunes, I gained the power to make my ideals a reality. There's no doubt that it was a coincidence. Just like the time I suddenly became the madam. However, everyone entrusted their futures to my ideals. That's why they gave me the title of madam. The real me, Rose Haibara, truly is a cowardly, insignificant person. However, when I'm Madame Rose, I must not be that way. I have a responsibility to draw out my ideals, show the path, and guide everyone along it.
As she said this, her gaze felt like the gaze of a noble person, worthy of respect. Then, I directly asked about her and the others. She told me everything without holding back. She controlled a mafia called the Primavera family. That force was the final power for protecting her countrymen, and that she had decided not to avert her eyes from that fact. People avert their eyes and pretend not to see it, but the criminal underworld exists. If everyone abandons that role, then thugs looking out only for their own self-interest will fill it. And that leads to misfortune for a great many people. Simply leaving the throne of the criminal underworld open might be considered irresponsible to the cause of peace. And so, she refused to look away from that world and that role. With an immense sense of responsibility to protect the society of her countrymen, she chose to sit in that throne herself.
I kept on questioning myself, saying that someone like me didn't have what it took to fill that role. However, during the considerable time that I wasted questioning myself, a large number of people met with misfortune. If I had accepted that I was Madame Rose right away, I would surely have been able to lower the number of pitiable sacrifices. That's not true. It's because you had that time to question yourself that you became an excellent madam. You mustn't focus on the past. Nothing in the past was a complete waste. It's the collection of all those things that brought us to where we are today. Thank you, Claudia. So, wages are better, and there's a lot more people in shops here now. What do you plan to do next? Simply put, the next step is food culture. Don't you think this Japanese spirit is really in soy sauce and miso? I agree. They do say that a drop of soy sauce is a drop of a Japanese person's soul, after all.
The distribution and production of Japan's food were destroyed in the Great Disaster. She did say the Jeanlai. She did say, yeah. They do have a similar hair color. But Claudia's not in Primavera per se, right? It doesn't necessarily have a reason to change her name to Jeanne. Yeah. Still, one for the candidate list. The distribution and production of Japan's food were destroyed in the Great Disaster. After that, large quantities of American and Chinese ingredients were imported, and Japanese food culture was on the brink of destruction. As Claudia-san said just now, it was now a lot easier to get ketchup, mustard, and ingredients for Chinese food than soy sauce. The soy sauce and miso that the Japanese used to love were now scarce luxury items.
Even the Japanese people all want to regain their eating lifestyles. I think food culture is the very first building block in the soul of a people. In other words, you want to see to it that a lot of soy sauce and miso get into circulation. That's right. If there's a lot of that going around, lots of people will buy it. If there's lots of demand, then of course supply and production will stabilize and increase. The Japanese people have been poor, so they've kept buying cheap foreign ingredients, unable to afford expensive domestic goods. That's what started the vicious cycle of only foreign ingredients circulating and Japanese food producers going out of business. If we can change wages and rebuild the circulation of goods, you'll be able to protect your food culture, and you'll even save the food producers supporting it. Exactly. Next, I'd like to mobilize the solidarity of our countrymen to center around a rebirth of our food culture. If people don't drink miso soup every now and then, they'll forget they're Japanese. It'd be wonderful if the Japanese people could be glad to have been born Japanese. And that's the ideal you're striving for. That's right. Making that come true, or rather, clearing the path for that to happen, is my job. There's still a lot of tough things going on. There's still a lot of trouble remaining from the wage issue, too. And we're also having difficulties with the soy sauce and miso issue. Well, I'm looking forward to it, Rose. I can't wait until I sell food made with real soy sauce. By this point, Madame Rose no longer looked like just a sweet girl slightly older than myself. She was a person worthy of respect, who had announced great ideals and was willing to sweat and toil to make them a reality. It was just too impressive and divine a sight for someone like me, who couldn't even remember her own name. However, I felt a desire grow in me, a desire to do something to help with her ideals. No, to help our fellow Japanese countrymen. It's exactly because of the times we live in that we mustn't think only about ourselves. The spirit to help one's countrymen must be treasured and nourished. Anyone's capable of thinking that. The ability to turn that into action and make it a reality was what made her so great. Is it time already? A man, who had been mixed in with the customers and appeared to be a guard, whispered into Rose's ear and pointed at his watch. I'm sorry. Looks like the next item on my schedule is drawing near. Oh, is it? But I was going to serve a brand new potato dessert.
Claudia. What you doing, Claudia? Potato dessert. At the same time, I actually am intrigued. I would want to try it, but I don't know. Maybe it could be really good. I do love potatoes in general, so it'd probably be good. It's hard to fuck up a potato.
Please let Zell try some. Sorry, and please enjoy yourself. It must be tough. Is this a job related to making your ideals come true? More or less? By making wages large, too many people have gathered, and as a result, there are more and more people than there are jobs. Depending on their situation, it's gotten harder for some people to get jobs than before wages were lifted. A lot of people have been pouring into City 23 from all around. they've grown a bit too much, and we seem to be seeing more disreputable looking people around lately. That's a problem too. Life can be tough. But we can't throw in the towel. One by one, we've got to tackle everything head on.
Madame Rose placed a new $1,000 bill on the table and rose from her seat. Then, about half of the customers in this cramped restaurant also rose from their seats. I was shocked. They were all her guards. This made several customers realize that she was Madame Rose, and they darted glances of awe and respect at her. Outside, a line of luxury cars was waiting for her. A large number of guards welcomed her with a deep bow. As she left, her back was overflowing with the dignity of one who guided the society of her countrymen.
Madame Rose is a really incredible person, isn't she? I'm a bit worried that she's working too hard. But that girl will bear the burden. The ideals held by a great many of us. We can't become like her. However, we all want to contribute in some way with the little things we can do. Yeah. We've got to contribute somehow, using the things we can do. She gave me a name.
In other words, she practically gave me life. Partly to repay her kindness, I want to contribute something I can manage. I'd reached a decision on what I ought to do, and found a person to depend on, which made me feel a sense of power, as though my feet were planted firmly on the ground. I am Rapunzel. Yes, a girl with no memory who's just started a new life in City 23. But surely, even for me, there's some way I can help the woman who accepted me as a fellow countryman, despite my past. Don't give up, me. And that is where we'll call it today. Almost perfectly on time. I could feel the sandpapery feeling kicking in, so it's good timing. I'm glad I held out for as long as I did, because it was it kicked in pretty fast this time. Oh well, it happens. Hey, did you seriously just suggest that ice cream mixed with mashed potatoes? I didn't see it until just now, but that is heinous, and you should be arrested for food crimes. I hope you... okay. Well, I'm glad you at least acknowledged what you did. I hope it's not that. Wait, you Googled it? It's a thing? What has this world become? What is happening to us? But is it like a transformative thing, or is it just you're eating mashed potatoes and someone like dunks sugar in it? Because like mashed potatoes, like then it becomes just like potato, like they make candy with starch and stuff, you know what I'm saying. With melted vanilla and chocolate chip rubbed into mashed potatoes and I am shook and horrified and I... I don't... What? That can't be a thing. Surely. That sounds horrible. Mashed potato truffles. I'm gonna look that up. Does it? It actually looks good? It actually looks good, but this is covered in cocoa powder. Anything looks good if you cover it in cocoa powder. Okay. That just covers it all up. There could be anything in there. You wouldn't know because it's covered in like delicious looking powder, okay? We're going to cover City 23 in cocoa powder. Yeah. Yeah. Problem solved. It's Claudia's endgame. That would be one hell of an endgame. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy this and like I'm not gonna believe that this is good until I see like one of these cut open. And none of them are. That makes me suspicious. Make one and try it out. No. Okay, I saw one cut open and it's horrifying. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that. That doesn't look it doesn't look right. Throw it in the Discord. There's just it's like just a regular truffle type thing and then there's just mashed potato in there. That's awful. Because it's gonna be cold, right? It has to be cold. It looks amazing, you liar. Oh, well. We'll continue this discussion in the Discord, I guess. The thing is, like, imagine eating cold mashed potatoes. Not very good. So why would you then make it into sweets? If you do try the recipe, though, tell me everything. I'm genuinely very curious, but more in like a morbid fascination kind of way. Like, I wouldn't want to be near that. No. 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 They are just potatoes, yes. Yes. But I don't know, I feel like there's something like inherently wrong about combining potatoes and sugary things, unless the potatoes are fried. And even then I'm like, I don't know. Cause you know the chocolate dipped, you would call them crisps, I think. I always, sometimes I just randomly forget what chips are called in the UK. No, it's crisps, yeah. We can buy the chocolate dipped ones, and those are already like... Those are already kind of a bridge too far for me. So, Dunno. Yeah, so it's just, you know, the usual salty stuff, and then you dunk chocolate on them. It's not bad, it's not good either, really, because it's two flavors that don't... I don't know, I'm weird about food anyway. I can't be trusted on a lot of food related stuff, I'll be honest here. Yeah, you'll eat almost anything. I'm learning this, yeah. That's becoming clear very quickly. Technically, I will also eat anything, basically, even if it's like burnt or something. Don't really care much. But I will complain if the flavors are bad. Unless you know. No, I will complain. Yeah. I get them not wanting to waste food, so I would, if someone put these in front of me, I would probably eat them. And then probably try not to throw up. But I would eat them, and I would finish them all. It wouldn't be the first time I ate something I hated and just kept eating it because I didn't want to waste it. I only in small bursts. If I didn't have to eat to stay alive, I would simply not. I would simply not eat anything. I would go outside, stand in the sun for a bit and photosynthesize, and I would be happy. And that's how I know that science has lied to us. Because, like, when I was a kid, they were promising, like, jetpacks, flying cars. Surely then photosynthesis for humans is on the table, right? 20 plus years later, nothing. So I feel like that should be possible. It's not science's fault. Science was never claiming any of these things, let's be real. I bet kids now still grow up with the whole one day there will be flying cars sort of angle, you know? Yeah, just get some chlorophyll up in there and then I wouldn't mind being green. Worth it, worth it. Turn me into a plant. And on that note, but I feel like green is a more natural color than blue. I don't feel like that. It is. Blue is super rare in nature, so that's not going to happen super often. Green is everywhere. So it would definitely look less weird or off-putting or budget avatar, I think, than blue would be. And if it's like a slight blue tinge, you know, then sure, why not? Why not? Small trade-off for just being able to soak up the sun in a literal sense. Actually, I don't go outside enough as is. Well, it would give me a reason to go outside more. Wait. Are you telling me that people try to look blue on purpose? I thought it was a side effect because people think that colloidal silver is going to, like, make them healthy, and then they turn blue. Surely it's not on purpose because they want to be blue. You can just get, like... Yeah, it just does nothing. Which I guess is better than it doing something, because it probably wouldn't be something good. Well, I guess there's that, yeah. But there's lots of things that have antibacterial properties. Doesn't mean you should just scarf all of them down. It doesn't seem smart. Yeah, and it turns you blue. And if I recall correctly, that is permanent. At least, I remember... This is so long ago, I don't remember if I'm remembering it correctly. But it was like, yeah, no, I stopped drinking it, but I'm still just as blue as I was when I stopped, you know, that kind of... Well, that's unfortunate. So, just further proof that green is the way to go. Check and mate. Time to drink chlorine. No, you need to drink something that turns you green. It doesn't need to... I guess enough chlorine would make you green, huh? Would it? It would probably kill you before you got green. Chlorine bad. Yeah, so, disclaimer. Don't do any of this stuff, obviously. Also, don't try to make yourself look blue or green when there's perfectly viable options like body paint, there's makeup. If you really want it to be permanent, you could probably get yourself like tattooed into another color. You have options that don't involve drinking potentially toxic substances, just saying. And like chlorine in pool water is super diluted, and they stopped using it. Like most pools nowadays aren't. They have other cleaning systems. Is it a system? I can't remember what it is exactly, but yeah, don't drink toxic substances. Do make mashed potato sweets if you want. If you want. If you also consider just covering everything with cocoa powder to make the world a better place. I don't. This subject got out of hand. Like it grew a mind of its own, and then yeah, it's worse than usual. Like I think normally it goes all over the place, but today was especially bad. It was something. But yeah, I have to go draw a little tie for Iggy. My avatar for other types of content that isn't me reading. If half a cup of wine makes you get this tangential, I wonder what happens if it's more than half a cup. Oh, the cringe laughter is, I haven't touched this in a while. I am slowly going through and marking, like, the good ones. Oh, so it's tangents and then you fall asleep, I see. Yeah. I am making a compilation of all the evil laughter in Umineko that I did. And the first like 12 sound identical to each other, because I was like, well, I have to make the sound, I guess I'll just do the same thing I did last time. Because, you know, I was a baby and I was still learning. And then for Arc 2 it got a little better. For Arc 3 it got a little better. There was definitely more variety. And then it got kind of okay for the most part. And then in 7, Arc 7, I don't know what happened. But out of nowhere, you can tell that I just got really confident all of a sudden. And I'm just like tackling up a storm. Yes, you did, Jordan Arc 4. And yeah, it's wild. It just goes from you know, kind of like I'm trying, but not really getting it, to like full-blown Kinzo eel cackle. Like it's interesting. I think I will edit it down so that the cringe is gone. I'll leave some of the cringe in. And yeah, you can't go all out for everything, of course, because variety is important. And you have to bring like the vibe across for what's being said and the vibe of the laughter, I guess. Yeah, it has to match. You gotta know when to bring the cringe. That's true. Those are words to live by right there. And that is where Wayne comes in. Who? I don't know if he's heard him do anything but like a, you know? He just does the I'm too cool to laugh sort of like smirky kind of noise. He's going through a cool phase? Yeah, he is. He looks less cool than he ever did. And then fucking Cyrus came in, looking like that. What a king. I'm like gesturing wildly. You can't see, but I am. That's how impressed I was. Cyrus is how Caleb should have looked is... bold statement. I get it, but I think actually Caleb's Boy King outfit really worked. I think if he had Cyrus's outfit, he would have been too cool. And it would have contributed to him sounding convincing with all his ridiculous ideas, right? It would have made him a little too powerful. And we would have maybe not been as willing to just be like, yeah, fuck you, Caleb. I think. Yeah, I think I wouldn't hate him as much, and that would be a bad thing. Although I really liked him at the beginning, and that was fun too. I don't know. They still haven't confirmed if he's dead or not, by the way. I definitely picked up on that one. God, yeah. He was so much fun in the beginning. The betrayal. Ugh, it still stings. It's sad. I mean, his whole, like, going from, like, this amicable, fun guy who has some interesting ideas to just outright villain is... that arc was actually so well done. Like, I can't really be mad about it. Yeah, I can't really be mad about it. That's true, he never went like full villain. Like even at the end they had like this sort of gentlemanly standoff, you know? Yeah, Miguel was like the unhinged one of the two. So they kind of balance each other out in that way. How romantic. I don't know, maybe they just like left the city, you know, and they have a farm somewhere now. I don't know. I hope so. That would be nice. They don't really deserve it, but... But do they have to? No. No, they don't. That's true, we don't know what happened to Amanda at all. Maybe next episode. I hope that she's still involved, at least, because that would be nice. She did help, after all. And James Tomitaka? Now? I feel like we'll see him again, because we saw, was it Monobe? Or Mononobe? Okunobe, you know. we saw him, so we'll see James again, I think. Or at least he'll be mentioned. I actually also thought that would be the boss. I thought they just grouped all of Caleb's guys together, you know? It's smarter that they didn't. Yeah, that suit that he had, damn. Huh. Hopefully, we'll see some more old faces next time. If not, that's alright, because there are so many characters, and I don't know what to do with them voice-wise, because all these characters are so much more grounded than in Umineko. That it's like, I'm just voicing 3 characters right now that all sound the exact same. Cool. And it is a challenge. But a fun one, so definitely worth it still. Yeah. I guess we'll see next time what happens. And until then, keep an eye on the YouTube. Oh, true, we will get another emo assassin girl. Okay, just real quick before I sign off properly. I think that Zell might actually be Chinese. And that's going to be like a thing. She said, oh, I must have picked it up naturally. Well, like, say if you were raised with it as your first language, you know? Yeah. And that's where the emo assassin girl in Chinatown comes in. Because she's like, hey, I know this person. And I really wonder where that all is gonna go. But yeah, that's kind of the only theory I have, so. I wonder, because if... Well, actually, emo assassin girl might be related to... God damn it. I know his name, but like, I always get one letter wrong. Meiju. Could be that she's related to him. I don't think Zell would be. That would be way too coincidental, right? That would be way too coincidental. But I feel like it would make some sense for him to have like a little emo assassin girl on his payroll at least. Because they have a bunch of assassins on the payroll. Maybe they were both assassins. So. Something to think about for next week. Alright. Yep. We'll be back next week, same time as usual. 8 PM Amsterdam time on Thursday. Until then... Until then, keep an eye on the YouTube channel where I post VODs and videos, and will eventually post the Cackle compilation, as I've been calling it, which is a supercut of all the evil laughter that I did for Umineko, minus the cringy ones edited out. The full reel, which I have edited down, this took me, I think, 5+ days, like full days to do altogether. The full reel is 25 minutes long of just like very tightly cut together laughter. Yeah, it was a huge project. I really underestimated how long it would take. But it's also like 200 hours of footage. So it does make sense. And the result is 25 full minutes. So yeah, a lot of laughing in that. Honestly, you get used to the editing process if you do it enough, and also, I kind of just enjoy editing. It's kind of almost like a oh my god, meditative sort of deal, you know? It's calming. There we go. Therapeutic, yes. You can get kind of in the zone and just... And yeah. One thing to look out for if you check out the YouTube channel is my playthrough of Baldur's Gate with my friends, because I do a little animation type thing for every episode, or have done so far. So, could be like, we talk about having a fake podcast, and then I make a little logo for it, or, in one, I made a fake YouTube overlay, because one of my friends was pretending to have a YouTube channel that they were, like, talking about. The anti-fun police one was... It genuinely took me a week after I put that on the internet that I realized, oh shit, my friend was right. Don't tell anyone I said that. But that's how slow I was in the uptake with that one. But that was an example of like a little animation I did. So I try to add a little extra flair, you know, beyond just editing it every time. It's neat. Thank you. That was fun to make as well. And now I have that just lying around, so if a moment where that needs to, like, I need something like that again, I'll just, you know, whip it out. It's great for meaning potential. Alright. Alright. Yes. So there's that. I have a YouTube channel, and I do stuff on the YouTube channel, and sometimes it's good, maybe. I have fun with it, and that's the important part. And, we'll be back next week, as always. So until then, have a good day, evening, night, week, month, year, you know the drill. And I'll see you again next time. Alright. Thanks again for watching. I didn't say thanks yet, but thank you for watching, for being here, for being in the chat, for watching the VOD, whichever it is. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Goodbye.